Describe it in one single word, it'd be intense. It's just their focus. I think maybe this is how they've always done camp. For my camp, it was serious, especially when you're like 2-3 weeks out, it was serious, but you still wanted a playful kind of vibe, energy where it's not so serious. They don't have that. Like, it's so intense, it's so serious. And he brings in these absolute killers that specialize in wrestling and jiu-jitsu and grappling, and he just has these monsters. You can see why he's one of the best in the world. It's just really intense.
He asked me if I wanted to spar, and I looked back and, I did one of these. Did a little head nod. And I'm like, oh, you want to spar me? Grabbed my mouthpiece, did the sign of the cross, felt blessed, walked over there, and I respectfully declined the invite because I realized that this man is not one to be played with.
CM Punk recently sparked some serious discussion about UFC 319 with his take on the highly anticipated middleweight title fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis.
Who you got? Dricus or Khamzat?
It's so hard to bet against Chimaev, like, especially after what he just did to Whitaker. It's just like,
yes.
But I think Dricus is really, really smart, probably smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. And like, he knows what his game plan is going to be. He knows Chimaev is going to come and like try to dive on an ankle, like right out of the gate, So I'm sure he's doing his preparations. That's what's going to make this so fascinating. Like, I don't even know if I see this making 5 rounds.
Despite his own lackluster stint in the UFC, Punk remains a notable figure in the MMA world, and his opinion still carries weight. Though he admits he might not be able to attend the event due to his schedule, his perspective on the fight is drawing attention. Punk believes the matchup will be explosive, particularly given Chimaev's aggressive fighting style. He's not afraid to call a spade, and his analysis is sharp. Chimaev's dynamism in the opening rounds is nearly impossible to bet against. That said, he acknowledges the calculated nature of Du Plessis, who he believes might be underappreciated by many. Punk points out that Du Plessis is smart and has a solid game plan for dealing with Chimaev's pressure. He suspects that the fight won't go 5 rounds, predicting that it could resemble the notoriously slow-paced clash between Derek Lewis and Francis if it does. The possibility of both fighters tiring out, especially Chimaev, is on Punk's radar, making this title bout all the more intriguing.
What was that? Is it Derek Lewis and Nagatu?
Oh, that was so slow. I had to fight after that. I was like in the back, I was like, yo, kid, we thought this was gonna be a fast fight. Man, they go 15 minutes. I'm in the back taking a nap. They have to wake me up. DC, you walking. Like, come on, chill.
You weren't the only one napping.
Whoever would have thought that would be as boring a fight?
Punk, will you really maybe not be at the Chicago show? That actually is a blow. Is it true that you're not scheduled?
Brother, I'm so busy. Like, it's absolutely insane. When is it, the 18th?
Yes.
Yeah, I know we're in Europe for like a big chunk of August, but I don't think it's until the last week of August. So I got to double check. I got to check things out. But hopefully I'll be there.
This analysis is part of a broader conversation surrounding the fight, with a number of other UFC stars offering their predictions and advice. Former bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw, for instance, has warned Chimaev that he needs to focus heavily on his conditioning if he hopes to beat Du Plessis. Dillashaw's advice revolves around one crucial area: cardio. He stresses that Chimaev's tendency to go for the kill early could backfire, especially over the course of 5 rounds. While Chimaev is undoubtedly dangerous when he's on the attack, Dillashaw believes that his energy expenditure in the early rounds could leave him vulnerable later in the fight. The key, according to Dillashaw, is to train in such a way that Chimaev can stay in the red zone without burning out.
How are you going to train Khamzat Chimaev to beat DDP? Cardio. I just don't think he has the gas tank if he doesn't finish DDP doing this, because he's good, he's strong, his grappling's better, he's got good technical striking. I would put a lot more money on Chimaev if he trains the right way for his cardio. If he doesn't train his cardio the right way, I think it's gonna be hard for him to put DDP away, and DDP's gonna get him in the later rounds. He's asking him off. He ain't gonna get tired.
Dillashaw's advice echoes the thoughts of other MMA figures who have also looked at Chimaev's conditioning as a potential weakness. The undefeated Chechen fighter has yet to be tested in a 5-round battle. battle, and that's a major concern as he heads into UFC 319. He's been able to dominate his opponents in short, explosive bursts, but Du Plessis brings a different challenge. Du Plessis is known for his durability, toughness, and relentless pace, which could make it difficult for Chimaev to maintain his usual rhythm.
DDP, man, he is something else, bro. For so long we thought he just was bad. He's not. He's really good. He's like really, really good.
Did you ever see that thing with him? And they show like a clips of Homer Simpson, like doing everything wrong and somehow winning, and they kind of show like the same.
Good, dude.
That is
bro.
hilarious.
He was just. I was like, okay, so Izzy's gonna just counter him. He's too good. And he got Izzy bad. He was all over Izzy. I mean, he put it on Sean Strickland bad.
Yeah.
That last time. Like,
you gotta respect that style.
He's good, man. He's so big, he's so strong, and he's good. Now, Khamzat, in a sprint, can't stay with him. DDP can't stay with him. But I think if the fight goes long, it starts to get interesting. Right. I think Dricus is there for 25 minutes. Khamzat needs to be there for 25 minutes also.
Tito Ortiz is a little more optimistic about Chimaev's chances, though. Ortiz has been impressed by the Chechen's skill set and is confident that Chimaev will prove to be a nightmare for Du Plessis. He describes Chimaev as a monster and believes that Du Plessis will be in for a rude awakening when he realizes just how dominant Chimaev's wrestling game is. For Ortiz, it's all about the ground game. He believes Chimaev's wrestling will be too much for Du Plessis to handle, despite the South African champion's own grappling expertise.
How do you predict that fight plays out?
People gonna see how vicious Chimaev truly is. I respect the guy. He's a monster. Du Plessis, the champ, I think he's in him for a rude awakening because he's gonna realize that his wrestling is not as good as Chimaev's truly is. And it was heartbreaking for me in that middleweight division because when Bo Nichols got picked apart his last fight, I was like, man, why didn't you wrestle? You're one of the best guys in the world in wrestling. Use your wrestling. And that's what all the Russians do. They use their wrestling to set up punches. They use their punches to set up the wrestling. And then they take people down and they choke them because they're really good at it. I think Chimaev, I would give it maybe 3 to 4 rounds. I think Chimaev just overwhelms him too much. I think that's my opinion. Once again, I watch him. I watch Chimaev. I just see how tough he is, and I know he had training camp actually at Jackson Clothing Company or Jackson in California, correct? And was it
with Bear and Rampage is also there.
Yep. And so I know he's doing really well. I talked to Rampage. Rampage goes, no, he's the real deal, Tito. I go, I see him. I watch his fights and how vicious. I mean, he can shoot a double leg from half the cage and still take a guy down. He's just very vicious.
Dominic Cruz, another veteran of the sport, offers a different angle, focusing on the striking dynamic between the two fighters. Cruz highlights Du Plessis' ability to keep Chimaev guessing with his unpredictable and diverse striking. Du Plessis' ability to switch stances and attack from unorthodox angles could create problems for Chimaev, who typically relies on a more straightforward, pressure-heavy approach. Cruz points out that if Du Plessis can keep the fight standing and avoid being taken down, he could exploit his versatility to gain an advantage over Chimaev, whose grappling approach might be less effective in a striking-heavy battle.
Man, I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. Like I said in the Schmo interview, he doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Yeah. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. So he's also very big and strong, so I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. Just the strength alone has been too much, and I think Dricus is sturdy enough and big enough he can challenge it, but I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Then there's the perspective from current middleweight champion Sean Strickland, who has had the opportunity to train with both fighters. Strickland is confident in Du Plessis' ability to neutralize Chimaev's wrestling, which many believe is the Chechen's most dangerous weapon. Strickland argues that Du Plessis has the toughness and skill to prevent Chimaev from imposing his grappling game and forcing the fight to the ground. He believes that once the fight stays standing, Du Plessis' striking will shine, putting him at a distinct advantage over Chimaev, who has shown some vulnerabilities when forced into striking exchanges.
You know, he beats DDP, or do you think DDP retains?
You know, it's hard.
So those little Chechen fucks, I don't want to say Chechen, he's not Chechen, he's Swedish, but those little Chechen whore, like, dude, they can grapple. And like someone like me, who I've been training with these fuckers for years, I usually could counter wrestle and grapple them. So I just don't know if Dricus can be able to counter wrestle him.
Yeah.
But if he can, I think he wins all hands down, you know?
On the flip side, Darren Till, who has spent considerable time training alongside Chimaev, holds a more pessimistic view for Du Plessis. Till believes that Chimaev's explosiveness and relentless pace will simply be too much for Du Plessis, particularly in the opening rounds. According to Till, Chimaev's speed and power will overwhelm Du Plessis before he has a chance to implement his own game plan. Till predicts that Chimaev will secure an early finish, citing his opponent's aggressive style as the determining factor. This perspective suggests that while Du Plessis has proven his resilience in the past, he might not have the tools to withstand Chimaev's early onslaught.
If I went back to the UFC now, I was the middleweight I could be. I'd fucking tear that Dricus' head off. Tell Dricus I said fuck him, by the way. The little fucking gobshite. Because I can't stand his guts, because he's so good.
You think he beats Khamzat, your boy?
No, look, with respect, I'm never going to look past Dricus because he trains hard, he's super dedicated, he's super strong, and he's got that awkward style that doesn't make any sense. I think Khamzat will beat him inside the 2 rounds. I really do believe that. But look, Khamzat knows. I was speaking to Khamzat on the FaceTime the other day because I'm meant to be going out to Dubai to help with the camp. Khamzat knows it's a tough fight, but, you know, Khamzat trains like a beast. I do think Khamzat gets it in 2 rounds done. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, you're looking svelte. You're looking great. How much are you weighing right now?
Everyone's been saying that, you know, that I'm looking fabulous.
Yeah, you are.
Ariel, let's just go. Do I look fabulous?
I think you look fabulous. The teeth are just like blinding me. I wish I was wearing sunglasses right now, but you're looking fit. Way fitter than the last time, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to show me another thing there. It was getting very low, the camera. It was weird. It
Whoa.
was uncomfortable.
Whoa. Only my missus gets to see that. Don't be disrespectful.
While the debate rages on, former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov has also weighed in with advice for Chimaev. Khabib, who has transitioned into coaching since his retirement, suggests that Chimaev should focus on striking rather than relying too heavily on his wrestling. Khabib recognizes Chimaev's strength in grappling, but cautions that using that strategy too early could tire him out. According to Khabib, Chimaev's best chance is to start with striking, especially since he's proven to be an effective boxer. Khabib warns that forcing things early, in terms of wrestling, could burn a lot of energy that Chimaev will need later in the fight. Khabib's advice stems from his belief that Chimaev can get overly aggressive and lose sight of pacing himself, which could ultimately hurt his chances in a 5-round contest.
Я думаю, что мое личное мнение, я бы Хамзату стойко крался. Вот чисто по боксу пусти, Хамзат лучше. Вот чисто по боксу. Это мое мнение. Просто здесь есть такой момент. Ты можешь сфорсировать события. Там раунд, 2. Но если ты его не финишируешь, ты очень много энергии потратишь. А потом надо в чемпионских боях. А Хамзат не был в чемпионских раундах.
Israel Adesanya, who recently lost his middleweight title to Du Plessis, also offered his thoughts on the fight. Adesanya knows Du Plessis well, having fought him in a competitive contest that was ultimately decided by Du Plessis' submission in the 4th round. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, Adesanya shared his belief that Du Plessis will finish Chimaev in the later rounds despite Chimaev's explosive start. Adesanya sees Du Plessis' chaotic, unpredictable style as a key advantage in this matchup, especially when it comes to surviving Chimaev's initial onslaught. Like many others, Adesanya believes Chimaev will be at his most dangerous in the first couple of rounds, but after that, it's all about whether he can maintain his pace.
I think just late finish, late finish. Khamzat would, I think Khamzat will, if he wins, it's the first 2 rounds, or the first round. Well, Dricus is just chaotic. Chaotic, good, chaotic, evil. That's literally what this fight might be. Chaotic good versus chaotic evil.
For Chimaev to win, many experts agree that he'll need to put Du Plessis away early. If he doesn't, his lack of experience in 5-round fights could prove to be his downfall. The Chechen fighter has never been tested in a full-length title fight, and the question remains whether he can keep up his pace for the entire duration of the bout. If Chimaev doesn't find a way to manage his energy and pace himself better, Du Plessis' stamina and durability could overwhelm him in the later rounds.
Good group of coaches around you, and I think that's what Khamzat has around him. He has a great group of coaches, but you see guys like Armin, you see the training partners, you see the team he has in there, you see what he's doing. this dude's got nothing but dogs around him. And I think at the end of the day, you have to understand that when you put together a camp, it's about putting together the pieces that you think it's going to take for you to win. So I think one thing that I understand this morning, when you walk in the Santo Performance Studio and you see 30 people running around and 10 of them are new faces, it's like, okay, we're starting to figure out what the camp needs. We're starting to fill the gaps. We're flying in these people. We're flying in these fighters. We're bringing in these partners, and now the sparring is going to a new level. So you see things turning up. You could feel the intensity when you walk in the room. And obviously, I've been having the opportunity to chill at night with Khamzat and Armin and kind of their team and just get a deeper dive into what motivates them. And Khamzat's motivated by being the best in the world. That's it. He wants to bring the belt back home. He wants to show everybody who believed in him, his family, his friends, his team, his coaches, everything they thought is real. Khamzat's some real dog.
This fight is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and it has all the elements of a classic showdown. Chimaev's explosive, high-energy style faces off against Du Plessis' grit and unrelenting pressure. It's a battle of endurance, strategy, and skill, and UFC 319 is poised to deliver a memorable contest. While Chimaev's wrestling might be his key weapon, Du Plessis' ability to weather the storm and grind out a win could ultimately be the difference maker. The stakes couldn't be higher, and all eyes will be on Chicago as these two fighters go head-to-head for the middleweight championship.